Hello, my friends. Welcome back to my channel. Ignore the giant bun on my head. I showered and then put my hair up because it's hot out and it's just a hot mess at the moment. I did what I could, so here we are. Anyways, welcome back to my channel. I am Taps and I'm the maker and the creator behind Safari Stitches, and today we're doing something a little fun. We are doing a challenge. It's the Share the Love challenge. It's actually over on Instagram, but I'm going to do it here and on Instagram. But basically, they're challenging everybody to find 5 free patterns to share with everybody, and I will of course tag everything below in the description so you guys can see it. But this is a challenge by the Cozy Buckeye and Appletree_Stacy Makes. I'll pop up their usernames here and link their accounts in the description. Go give them a follow. I've been seeing this all over the place. It's super fun. What a really neat idea. It's one of those things where people are being challenged, and I was challenged twice to do this. I was challenged by Shannon over at Case and Crochet, and I was challenged by Christine at What's Up Cupcake Whimsical Crafts. So I got challenged twice. I'm only doing 5 because I gotta tell you guys, it was so hard. I am going to include my favorite freebies as well at the very end, so it's kind of like a little bonus. But the first 5 that I'm going to be doing are patterns that I have never personally made. I actually had to search through Instagram to find a few more because all of the ones that I have saved are ones that are in my regular rotation. So I had a lot of fun kind of discovering some new patterns, some new creators. So I'm really excited to get into this challenge. The first one is actually one that I have had saved for a little while, and I've just never been able to get around to making one. And it's actually a rubber duck pattern by Hagurumi Toys on Instagram. I'll pop up a screenshot of the first page of the post. These have been on my list for a little while because we have a Jeep. We have a Wrangler, and if you are a fellow Wrangler owner, you have more than likely heard of the Jeep ducking culture, I guess I would call it. Basically, if you don't own a Wrangler and you're unfamiliar what this concept is, basically what you do is if you own a Wrangler, sometimes you will come out of a grocery store or out of the mall or somewhere, and there will be a little rubber duck sitting somewhere on your vehicle, on your Wrangler, and you've been ducked, basically. It's just kind of like a really cute thing. Duck Jeep. I don't know. It's just really cute. We have been ducked a couple of times. Our Jeep has been out of commission for a little while now, so we haven't actually been able to participate a whole lot, but we actually have an entire bucket of rubber ducks downstairs and we'll just go in and pick like 2 or 3 to take in the car with us whenever we go out in it, and we will just go, and if we see a Jeep out in the wild, we will just go put a little rubber duck on their door handle. I don't know, it's just kind of fun. I really enjoy it. It's kind of fun to see what kind of ducks you get, but I thought this would be really fun, and kind of like a selfish advertising moment for me, and crochet little rubber ducks to then attach my logo to in my business, and maybe get some other fellow Jeepers to buy some little rubber ducks for me locally. I don't know. I thought it might be a cute idea. So that's the first one. I am going to go and pick the yarn that I'm going to use. I think for this challenge, I am going to stick to using Michael's The Sweet Snuggles Light or Chenille Home Slim. So I think we're just going to go with a classic for right now. We're going to do a classic rubber duck, a little yellow rubber duck. So I'm going to grab my yarn and my hook, and we're going to get to making. And basically for this video, instead of just like sitting here and saying, okay, here's this pattern, here's who it's by, here's what it looks like finished, I want to crochet it after I tell you guys what I'm going to make, and I'll time myself and also figure out the materials that I used. And then that way you guys can create it exactly, or if you are curious like how much yarn it uses, how long it takes, if it's market friendly, I'll even work out my pricing for it so you can know how much I would charge for something of this size. I did stick to what I'm hoping are more market friendly. As we work through these 5, I have my list here. I just went through and pulled all of them to make sure that I knew what I was going to do. But like I said, we're going to start with the Rubber Duck by Hagurumi Toys. I'm hoping I'm saying that correctly. I will link all of the patterns below that I shout out in this video, and let's get going. He's cute. He's cute. This is a lot bigger than I was anticipating. This is definitely more like larger than what I would duck a Jeep with. I'm curious. I'd be curious to see how this would come out in velvet yarn. Like the size, I would imagine it would be quite a bit smaller. I don't know. I'm not very good at judging size based off of the yarn that I use. But either way, it came out really cute. It worked up so fast. If you are looking for something really cute for the summer, for your summer markets, highly recommend. Like I said, this is the Rubber Duck pattern by Hagurumi Toys. Let's see, I used, just to give you some stats here, I used 1.3 ounces of yarn total, so very low supply cost here. I used 12 millimeter safety eyes, and I used a 5 millimeter safety hook, a 5 millimeter crochet hook for that. It took me 28 minutes. And that was the first time I had ever done that pattern, so there were some minor adjustments that I needed to make for myself. It had nothing to do with the pattern. It was just me. The only thing I might tweak is when you start building up the sides, I think you go from like single crochet increase to a 3 single crochet increase. I think at that point I would switch to and do that round back loop only to create a little bit more of a base maybe, so that it kind of stands. It's a little top heavy, so I don't really know that having a quote unquote base would really make that much of a difference, because the head makes it like tip forward, which is understandable. But either way, it's super duper cute. You could add some like weighted pellets in the bottom of this to make it stand better, to counter the weight of the head so it doesn't dip forward. But like I said, it worked up really quick, 28 minutes. Probably would take me around 25 minutes now, just because I just had to get used to especially the tail and then working up to the head. That took me a second to kind of figure out in my head what needed to happen. But either way, super duper cute. So that's pattern number 1. Again, it will be linked in the description. The next pattern is the Flower Buddies by Celestial CB Crochet. I'll pop up a screenshot of the Instagram post again for you guys to see. These are so stinking cute. I'm excited. I'm not entirely sure which one I'm going to make yet. Okay, I just looked. I've decided I'm going to do the sunflower because the sunflower is adorable. I believe there's an original. There's the daisy. The original is what I'm going to be using for no, it's not. I'm going to be using the daisy, I think, for the sunflower, the daisy petals, and I'm going to do the body in a green of some sort. I'm just not sure what color yet. I'm going to get all my statistics pulled together and then we're going to start making it. I'm sure you are now noticing that there has been an outfit change. We got interrupted by AT&T yesterday because, wouldn't you guess, our house or a tree near our house or something near our house got struck by lightning on Friday, and it knocked out our internet, and the power surge fried our AT&T fiber box. It also fried our air fryer, ironically, and it fried our ice maker. So super fun times over here. We also had several bulbs that got blown. Just overall having a fantastic time. So anyways, this is so cute. I finished the little sunflower flower buddy. This is absolutely adorable. This is the size it came out. I love this size. I think this is a fantastic size. Again, I believe all of these are chenille home slim from Michaels. Now, the only caveat to this pattern, I'm not entirely convinced that I did the petals correctly, according to the pattern. So take all of this information with a grain of salt, but it took me 20 minutes to make this guy. So this was insanely quick. It's no-sew. I got some fluff on his little booty. It was no-sew. Okay, so my battery died while I was making that, and I decided to just finish him off and come back to you guys with the finished Totoro. Look how cute he is. He's so cute. there's quite a lot of detail on this guy. So he took a little bit longer. Let me do some math really quick and I'll come back. Hold on. Okay, so the body itself, not including the ears or the tail, took me 28 minutes. So relatively quick. Obviously, I don't have the whites of his eyes on, and that is simply because I cannot find my white embroidery yarn. It has mysteriously vanished. I don't know where it went. It's just not in my cotton box. It's not in any of my whip boxes. It's not in my bags. I don't know where the heck it's gone. So I need to find that. So I still do have a minor detail to add to it. Obviously, I would use felt, but I don't have felt either. We planned very well. But 2 colors. The body took 28 minutes. The ears and the tail took 17 minutes to make and sew on. And I will say I'm trying not to be a speed racer while I'm crocheting because I can crochet fairly quickly. And usually when I do challenges like this and I'm timing myself, I tend to speed up a little bit. I don't know if anybody else has that. It's just like a psychological thing for me. I'm trying, like, racing the clock almost. So I'm trying not to do that. So overall, it took me, oh gosh, what's the math? 45 minutes. Is that right? Yeah, 45 minutes on the dot, actually, to make this guy from start to finish, including the embroidery and sewing the ears and tail on. So under an hour still, which is super market friendly. I would probably do 18 on him is kind of what I'm thinking. I need to like plug all the numbers into my price calculator and figure that out first. But let me just give you the details again. I used 10 millimeter safety eyes on this one just to give him more of like the beady eye look that you get with a Totoro. Obviously it will look a lot different with the whites. But the blue yarn, I used 1.3 ounces of yarn, and the cream, I only used 0.2. So again, super low on the material cost here. All right, so now that that one is done, that's number 3, so we're more than halfway. The next one is a little bit larger, at least it appears a little bit larger, but it is Waddles the Duck, and it is a, there are 2 designers that work together on this pattern. I'll put a screenshot up here while I'm reading out their names, but the first creator is at keepsake.crochet, and the second one is at lins.handmadedesigns. So this is Waddles the Duck. I am just going to do a classic white or cream, I think, for this guy, similar to this color, and then I'm going to do a gold, like the gold that I used on the petals. I'm going to use this color for the other details. Let's go get the yarn and we're going to get started. Okay, friends, I'm back. I have finished Waddles the Duck, and I'm just going to tell you, this one took me longer than I thought it would. It is a bigger pattern compared to the other 4 that I have picked. Like, size-wise, it came out just a little bit bigger. And it's cute. So let me just go ahead and show you Mr. Waddles. I think I did the beak too high on the face. I don't think I counted my rounds properly. I think the beak needed to be 1 more round down compared to where I put it on. So it looks a little bit different from the Instagram post, but other than that, I love the face. They put increases and decreases on the side to give it a little bit of a cheek on the side of the head, which is really cute. And he's just so round and chubby. He's adorable. He is adorable. Let me give you some stats. I did use my 5mm hook again, and for this one I did use 12mm safety eyes. And then the cream yarn, I used 1.8 ounces of yarn, and the gold I used 0.2. So all of these have been very low on the material cost, which is fantastic, very market friendly. And the time that it took me to do this, 56 minutes. It took me 56 minutes to do this guy. I couldn't tell you why, because I don't really feel like it was more involved than Totoro. No sewing on this one. It's covered in orange fluff, but no sewing on this one. The wings are crocheted into place. These are front loop stitches that are done in the back, and then this is surface crocheted on. I guess there's just more rounds to him, so it took me a little bit longer. So still under an hour. And now that I've done it once, I think I could do it quicker than the 56 minutes that it did take me. But yeah, I don't know. It took me almost an hour to get this guy done, but still a great size. Under an hour to me is fairly market friendly, market prep friendly. Since it took me that long, this would probably be another $18 make, just like the Totoro. But yeah, super cute. So the 5th and final free pattern that I've never done before. Again, don't forget, stick around because I'm going to do like an honorable mentions of my 5 personal favorite that I make for pretty much every single market. I'm going to include after I finish this last one. The last one is the Chubby Owl pattern by JM_adorable plushies. Here's a screenshot of the pattern. I'm going to make the body of the owl in this brown color, and then I'm going to use the cream color for the accents. I'm going to grab my colors and we're going to get to crocheting. Okay. Before I get into this final pattern, I just want to say, if anybody has ever been curious as to what it looks like when a tree gets struck by lightning, here you go. I had no idea. I figured there's definitely scorch marks evident towards the top of the crack, but holy cow. And it's quite far away from the house. So, like, it's towards the back of our yard, and we have, like, 0.75 acres, so I don't know if that even puts it in perspective, but it's quite far away. So we were very fortunate that it wasn't closer to the house, because Lord knows how bad that could have been. Anyways, this last final pattern was a doozy. I can't lie. I was prepared based on the photo. I figured it was going to be fairly quick and very market friendly. It is not. For the size that it is and the time that it took me, I do not see myself making this again. It's extremely cute. It's adorable. It is an adorable pattern. I'll show you the finished one. It came out a little wonky, and the reason why is because the body and the head are two separate pieces, and they're sewn together. And you start from the bottom and go to the top on the body, and then you start from the bottom and go to the top on the head, so you can create these ears. Now, you sew the head to the body before you stuff it, and that is why it came out wonky for me. I tried to get it centered, and I had to redo it like 3 times, and it was very difficult. I would not say this is not a beginner-friendly pattern. It's not. It's just not. It looked like it would be, but it is not. I imagine you could potentially, instead of crocheting these in 2 separate pieces, you could probably modify the pattern so that you basically go from the body straight into the head. I think that would be fairly easy to do. I did not do that, obviously. I made it how it was written. I say I made it how it was written. I finished making the body, the head. I got the head sewn on. I closed the head, stuffed it, got everything put together, embroidered the little front pieces. I made the wings. I really, really love the wing shape on these. I love the wing shape. It's really, really cute, and I like it a lot. Like, it's well written, and it's easy to follow. But I think this was made a year ago. So, I don't know. It's very cute. If I make it again, I will definitely do it differently, and I will more than likely make it out of a thicker yarn so that it comes out bigger. I do sometimes struggle working with Sweet Snuggles Light and Chenille Home Slim. I believe all of the colors here are Chenille Home Slim colors. But you can see the size. It came out like quite large compared to just like the sunflower. The sunflower I'm doing 15 on. This would probably be 25 for this size, but it took me 5 minutes shy of 2 hours, and I didn't even do the pattern correctly. And let me explain. So I got all of the pieces made except for the beak and the feet, and the feet are made in the style that give it claws, and I love the style of the claws. But when I tell you, I got to that and I was like, absolutely not. So I just borrowed the technique that I use on my chubby birds that I make, and I gave him feet that way. And then I also surface crocheted the beak on instead of doing it how it's written in the pattern. So 2 hours would probably have turned into 2.5 hours at the very least if I had done it by the pattern. Would it go faster the next time I do it? Probably. Much faster than 2.5 hours? Probably not. I also probably would leave like 1 or 2 rows, oopsies, off the top of the head, just so it doesn't have quite such a large forehead. Because he's definitely twinning me right now. I have quite a large forehead. He's definitely giving me vibes. So I'm delirious. When I tell you I sewed the wings on and I was like, I can't. And I like flipped the page to the next page on the pattern and I saw the way that the claws were done. And I was like, as much as I would love to do that and give this the full vibe that this pattern writer is going for, I can't. I simply cannot. Because this was intended to be market friendly. And unfortunately, this is not. Absolutely no shame or hate towards the pattern writer. It's insanely cute. She explains like the sewing technique that she used, which is the sewing technique that I used as well. It just doesn't come out as clean, or it didn't come out as clean when I did it. So I would definitely say this is more of an intermediate pattern if you decide to try and do this one. Maybe somebody else will be able to do it faster than me. I feel like I'm a very fast crocheter. This one, I don't know. I don't know what it was, but look at the little tail. I also realized you may not be able to tell. You can't tell on camera, but the browns that I used are also from different dye lots. You can kind of see the line right there where the different dye lot starts, and the wings are the different dye lot, and then the tail is also made out of the different dye lot. So unfortunately, I have 2 different shades of brown. It's very subtle, but it's there, and I probably should have used bigger eyes. I can't lie. But you know what? We did it. We made 5, and I'm very proud of that. So let me just do a final, hold on, let's get serious. Let's do a final lineup of all of our free friends here. I don't really know what my favorite, actually, yes, I do. I know what my favorite is out of all these. Hold on. I'm sure y'all could probably tell based on my reactions to them which one my favorite is. My favorite is definitely Totoro. That pattern is absolutely adorable. The second favorite is probably the Flower Buddy. Now that we've finished those 5, those were all brand new to me. So now I'm going to go over 5 that I make for almost every single market. And we're going to give those people a shout out too, because they are some of my absolute favorite patterns. So the first pattern, I mean, y'all have seen me make it so many times. The cow plushie that I make by Kosinska, handmade. Of course, I will pop everything up on the screen, and I will link all of these below as well. That is one of my best-selling plushies, like larger plushies that I take to my markets. Y'all saw me make it. We make a lavender version. I make them in all sorts of different colors. They're super fun. I like to modify them and do like fruit cows and all that kind of fun stuff. So that is probably one of my top. It is one of my top 5 sellers for sure if I have them in stock. The second pattern that I want to shout out is the Mushy Boi. Now, I did stop making these last year at some point, simply because they kind of quit. They stopped selling for me. They just weren't selling very well, or they were just moving really slow, and I ended up with a few that I sat on for quite a while. And then I made some for the beginning of this year, and they sold really well. So I've started now to keep them in stock. But this pattern is by chunky.crochet on Instagram. It is free. I believe they are also over on Ribbler, and it's free on Ribbler as well. Somebody can correct me if I'm wrong. That's fine. But that is the next one that I wanted to give a shout out to. The third free pattern that is also another one of my best sellers is the small sea turtles that I make. That is by the Friendly Red Fox. That is free over on their blog. absolutely adorable, works up super fast. It's no-sew, which we love, and it's easy to customize to any color. And I love using my scrap basket for those. So when I want to make one, I come to my scrap basket and I fish through and pick a ball of yarn, and I make the shell out of these tiny little scraps, because usually it's like the perfect amount to kind of make a turtle shell out of, and then it's just like a really nice yarn buster, or stash buster, I guess I should say. The fourth that I want to point out is my possums that I make, and that is by Rumble Crochet on Instagram, also free again, and that is one of my best sellers. Top three, probably. Top three, I think. Yeah, top three. There's some markets where I just completely sell out of them every single time, and I love them. They're super cute. They work up super quick. They are not no-sew, but you could potentially modify it so that the ears can be crocheted into the body, so you don't have to sew it all, which is nice. And then the last but not least, of course, I would do myself a disservice if I didn't give myself a shameless plug. But luckily for me, bees are my number one bestseller at every single market, pretty much. I think I only had one market where the bees didn't sell very well, but I still sold a handful. But it's my pattern, of course. It's my pattern. I have to. It would be a missed opportunity if I didn't. But I have a free YouTube tutorial here, so you can watch me make one. But it's also posted on my Instagram, so you can go and save it and make it later or whatever. It is no-sew, which is awesome. We love no-sew. And I do share the rainbow variation in the Instagram post. So if you wanted to do rainbow instead of like black and another color, you can also see that. It's like the last slide, I think, second to last slide. I can't remember. But I have that as well. So those are the 5 that I wanted to shout out that I make that sell insanely well for me. They are some of my best sellers. Of course, take that with a grain of salt, because what sells well for me may not sell well for you. And I would hate to sit here and tell you that, yeah, these are best sellers and they're going to sell well for you, because I don't really know. Just really depends on your demographic. Most of those makes the cow I sell for $35, and then the others are, I sell the bees for $10, and then the others are, no, hold on. The possum and the mushroom are $15, and then the sea turtle is $18. That's how much I sell those for. So, yeah, I think that's going to wrap up this video, you guys. That was actually really fun. All 5 of those patterns that I did at the beginning, all of these were brand new to me creators, which I think is kind of the point of this whole challenge, is to just kind of share some of our favorites, try some new patterns. I know I took it a little bit further and kind of went into detail about, oh my gosh, I didn't tell you how much the supplies were. Oh no, I'm slacking. So the goal, I might have to like cut this part out and stick it back in the other one. The gold yarn, let me hold him up again. The gold yarn would obviously change depending on if you did the feet, the way the pattern was written. I used 0.1, less than 0.1. It didn't even register on my scale how much I used. So 0.1 ounces. The brown, I used 2.3 ounces. There was a tiny little remnant of a skein that I used that I forgot to weigh before I used it, but it was a little bit bigger than the first one I used, so I just kind of guesstimated. So I'm saying 2.3, maybe 2.5 ounces, just to be safe. And then the cream, I used 0.4 ounces of yarn. But yeah, I think that's going to wrap up this video today, you guys. I had a lot of fun. I'm excited that I discovered some new artists. Hopefully I mentioned some patterns that are also new to you guys, so you guys can go and save them and spread the love. Again, this is a challenge by Stacy Makes, and the Cozy Buckeye. They started it over on Instagram. These will also be posted over on Instagram, so you can go and check out that post as well over there. I will tag all of them, so it'll be really easy for you to find actually if you did that. But again, I will link all of these below as well. So thank you guys so much for watching this week. I appreciate it. This was kind of a longer one, which is good because I know my videos have been a little bit short and I know some of you really like the longer content. So here you go. We got a little bit of crocheting done and maybe you even got to try out the patterns with me while I made them. I don't know. Let me know in the comments below what your favorite free pattern is because I don't have any more saved that I haven't done. There might be one more on Instagram that I have saved that I have never made. So share your favorites below. Let me know what you're working on in this video, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Bye, y'all.